Welcome to the first Mappy Extras. This is where we get an opportunity to talk to the creators of Mappy and give you, the audience, an opportunity to sort of get an idea of the process and how this thing goes. Some of you may know me or recognize my voice. I'm Corey Cassoni, the head of marketing at ShiftyLook. You probably recognize me from some of the Shifty casts, or if you've seen some of our live feeds from some of our events. I'm also the co-producer on Mappy, and I'm joined today by the creators, Chris Straub and Scott Kurtz. Chris, you probably know from Brood Hollow and Chainsaw Suit. Hi, Chris.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
And we've got Scott Kurtz with us, who you probably know from PvP Online and Table Titans.
Nobody recognizes Corey's voice. I don't know why he's pretending that he's some kind of celebrity. But if you recognize Corey's voice for real, then you're sad. That's sad.
It's a sad thing.
Hello, Corey's parents.
Hello, Corey's wife, or me,
and my mom,
or me.
Well, let's introduce two other people that nobody will recognize: Lindsay and Alex Small-Butera, the animators of Mappy.
Known for lying on their stomachs and eating chips for 4 hours.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking about internet stuff.
And you are the two that bring all the magic to Mappy. Well, let's be honest.
This is very true.
No, there's a lot of flavor there, like a shocking amount.
I know.
No flavor.
You guys bring the goods. You are the reason why people are watching Mappy.
Oh, stop.
Because if they wouldn't be watching it if there wasn't anything animated. They wouldn't be listening.
Yeah, well,
You're the reason why people aren't listening to Mappy.
I think people generally just turn the sound off.
There's no reason to
Just
listen.
No.
They just watch the animation. So this is Mappy Extras. This is what we do. This is sort of our mid-season break, as we just finished episode 6 a couple weeks ago. We're coming back with 7 here in another week. And we wanted to give everybody a chance to meet the creative team and to talk about some of our favorite bits from the last 6 and kind of how the process got started. So Scott, I know that you've talked before about how Mappy was sort of a game of your past, of your youth, if you will.
It was. Back then it was called Mapuru, and it was, you see, in the 1800s, it was the late 80s, and it was in Dallas, Texas, during my high school years, and there was a pizza place across from the high school that had a sit-down Mappy, which I don't think I've ever seen another sit-down Mappy, except for at that place. But it was a sit-down Mappy, and it was the only game they had, and it was the only place I went, so I got super good at it. I mean, at the time, I've since lost all my Mappy playing ability. But yeah, it's just this cool little game. You're just a mouse bouncing on trampolines, chasing cats who steal artwork. And it was I thought it was kind of clever that it was, mouse chases cats type of deal. But, yeah, I mean, it was just this weird piece of nostalgia from my high school days. It's just very familiar and a friendly feeling. So when Corey's like, "You guys should animate something, pick something," and I went, "Mappy." Everyone's like, "Really?"
Of all the things, of all the Namco properties you could pick.
But we're making it cool again. We're gonna make it cool. Well, not again. We're making it cool.
Well, yeah, and this is how Mappy can get what it deserves.
Exactly.
The attention and the treatment for this character that you loved, which I had not heard of before this, and I tried to play it, and I'm horrible at it.
I'm also super horrible at it. But the other thing that appealed to me about Mappy was specifically that it wasn't already established anywhere. Like, even things that were available to us that were pretty cool, like Katamari and stuff, or Dig Dug. I mean, that stuff is already established.
But you like that kind of that sensibility about it. Like, Mappy is allowed to play in this universe, but is himself kind of an underdog, and you can kind of you can do a lot more with that than if you had like stewardship of some huge property that everybody has an opinion on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess it would be cool to be the person that got to do like a Pac-Man animation, but I tend to like characters that are the underdog. I guess you're right. It's the cool thing about Mappy.
Yeah.
He's scrappy Mappy.
and then you and Chris were working on Blamimations together, so you were already doing kind of this lo-fi animation, if you will.
That's
Oh,
being
that's
very
a-
polite.
That's a good way to put it. Lo-fi.
That's I like that because it gives it the affect is then it sounds like we selected it.
Like
Sounds
it wasn't
was
done
a
out of
conscious
necessity.
choice rather than how quick can this get done.
It was like it was some kind of hipster aesthetic.
Right. It's like we can do way better, but we're gonna just tone it down so the audio shines.
Look at this animation. All these in-betweens. In-betweens are so yesterday. Bleh.
Man.
And then once you realized you needed actual animators, Chris, you're friends with Lindsay and Alex, and then you guys came in.
Yeah, I've been friends with Chris for a really long time now. Back when I was just still an art student, I was on the Checkerboard Nightmare forum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a question for Alex and Lindsay, and I've been meaning to ask this and haven't gotten around to it yet. But you're familiar with the Blams before you sat down to animate Mappy for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Was it just that? I was curious. Like, was it just like you guys going, you know what? Let's give them a little extra juice, or was it? I am not going to turn in something that looks as as these Blams.
It was actually just because at the time when Chris had asked us, it was sort of like, oh, do this bare bones thing. I was like, okay, but we love Chris, so we were like, let's make it really good for Chris.
Yeah, it's like it makes it tough for us in the end, but we're like, let's stay up extra late
Yeah.
and make it extra good and not sleep.
Well, before we were working directly, we were like, we had the idea, like, we were going to take about 10 seconds out of one of the earlier episodes, like episode 2 or 3, and we're like, let's just fully animate it.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Just
But we didn't
show
have
'em what's
time. We were just
possible.
going to do it and like, when you would get it, you would have not known that was going to happen and be like, what's wrong with them?
That's
No,
what
but that's-
exactly what we would have said.
That's what happened. Yeah, but so we episode 1 is like it's Blamimation style. Whoever's talking, you just put them on the screen, and then I'll go back through and change the faces and do all that. But you had submitted like a fully, like, well, not fully animated, but like way more than any of us expected. And we were all blown away by
Oh,
it.
absolutely
I would say
floored.
devastated by it.
Well, we like
Emotionally.
Yeah, no,
You do-
we like you guys, and it's also the audio is so funny. Like
Yeah.
animating to good audio
That's
is
the
like
best.
a joy.
Yeah.
It really like saves your your enthusiasm for the whole project when every time you have to go back through a scene you're cracking up at it and
Yeah.
you know the people who are funny and you also like them.
Yeah, and we were just kind of doing what we usually do. So it just sort of came out that way.
You really
Well,
do bring a lot, though. I think it's important to note that there are, even more than the Blamimation style, you have these moments where you'll add like a little, and it's just subtle stuff, like a little animation loop, like in episode 4 where Mappy is talking about drilling and his arm kind of does the wiggle thing. Oh,
Yeah.
it kills me every time.
That's fun to do.
Well, it's cool when
The-
you have the standards are set that this isn't supposed to animate, and then
You just
when
add it.
when you have the time to do a little something, it like really makes it look
Yeah.
a lot bigger than it is.
What I really like is when we get a script from you guys and it says something happened here. And we're like,
Have we done that?
"Okay."
Oh yeah, there's a couple of scripts
The-
where it just blanket like something is here.
The best one was in the recent episode with Big Map and the Boogie Beats. And it was just like,
Oh.
maybe put joke here, think of something funny. And so I made him the Big Dog and Mappy where Flock of Seagulls and David Bowie.
And David Bowie, yeah.
So the thing is that we apologize for that because here's our process on the writing is that one of the ways to kind of avoid writer's block is that when you get to a part where you're stuck, rather than just sit there and stare at it, you just put in something temporary and move on, and then you go back. So it's like, okay, something funny happens here. Okay, then you finish it, and you're like, good, perfect. That didn't hold me up. Now I'll go back and take the stupid thing out and put in something brilliant. But maybe Chris and I went to lunch.
Sometimes you don't go back. Yeah.
Maybe Chris and I went to lunch, or Mike Krahulik or Jerry came in the office and said, do you want to come upstairs and check out this rad scooter I got? And then we never went back and fixed it. So I'm
He's
sorry.
like, hey, what are you doing right now? Nothing at all important. Just stand up immediately.
The thing that they added that destroyed me and Corey, we saw it for the first time together at the hotel at Gen Con, was in episode I don't know the number. It's the cleaning day one.
Spring cleaning,
cleaning.
episode 5.
That's
I think.
5.
Yeah.
Episode 5, where the running gag was that Dig Dug keeps losing his drill, but it's always on his back. And at the end, it's like, I think my drill's up there, and you made Mappy's eye jerk animate to turn from looking up to looking back at Dig Dug, and it destroyed us.
Oh.
It's on like 5.
We
so-
must have played that back like 20 times.
No, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And some fans made a GIF out of it, and it circulated the internet. It's just the weirdest little moment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's great. No, that one kills me every time. The thing that got me was episode 4, where they're going to the Wonder Moment concert and they're trapped in the desert.
Oh, that's my
And-
favorite. That's my favorite episode.
Oh, I love that episode. There's a moment in the script where it says like Sky Kid appears and he's a mirage. And then he's speaking and then he's supposed to mirage away.
We made him on fire.
Yeah, he's just supposed to
And instead he
fade.
lights
Just-
on
Oh,
fire.
what
Just
was that
bursts into
about?
flames.
I tried to warn Corey on Skype. We were talking, and I'm like, so listen, Sky Kid may or may not catch on fire at some point in this. And you were like, okay, man, okay.
Because it's okay. I think thematically for that character it totally works.
Well, because he was
can
in the
absolutely
audio.
catch on fire.
We get the audio, and sometimes there's no script for parts. So he's just like he disappears, and he's like and like screaming, and I'm like, well, clearly he's either melting or on fire at this point. And so
Yeah.
just
And melting is a lot
That's
more animation.
yeah.
Yeah. So we
Right.
So we
So
burned
we
him,
just
yeah.
we just lit him on fire.
Just at
Well,
one point.
that's why it's like, you know what's the least animation? Just fading him out. It's so simple. But you went even further.
But it's finding that balance, right? I mean, I think that's kind of
Yeah.
the style of the animation is there. It's the lack of animation, but the moments where there is animation. Another in that episode is when he's looking up through the card and he says, "Oh, friend birds," and his arms are waving. It's just so perfect. It's just the
Yeah.
right amount of animation.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it adds a lot to those
If you
moments.
watch it closely, it's just the same image of his hands. They don't actually animate.
that's
it's
such a trick. Like
yeah, they slide and then they literally switch places so that it looks like they're from a different angle, and it's just like 2 drawings.
What?
But it's brilliant, right? Because that's what I mean. That is what Mappy is. That is that style of animation. That's that blamimation style of animation. Is just it's just enough. It started out of necessity, but now it's like its own aesthetic.
Yeah, I always worry about it when doing the sound effects. Like, but you guys run with it. Like again in episode 5 with the Katamari ball, when they pull it out of its storage, and then they're like, "Let's see, how does this thing work?" And he throws it on the ground, and I added like basketball dribbling sound effects, like if you drop a ball and it doesn't do anything, it just goes. Da, 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 da. And I always think, did I do it? Is it too short? Are they not going to be able to work with this? Like visually, they're like, the sounds actually come way too close together, and you got to spread that out because the ball wouldn't work that way. But no matter what is in there, you've still done it. You still have delivered that thing. Like the timing it works visually. It's nothing I'm doing. That's you. Or praise.
More praise,
But-
more praise, more.
But the funny thing is now it makes me kind of want to put things in there to see what they do with it.
Right. It's become a thing now where you guys you did it on episode 6 in episode 6. I can't remember the moment. There's a couple moments in 6 where you put little things in and like, oh, let's just see what they do. Let's just see what I know in episode 7 and 8 there are a couple of those things because it says in the script like just do something here, and you left it that way intentionally.
No, that's intentionally now.
Yeah, now see, Lindsay and Alex, what you've done is you've put yourself in a terrible position.
Right, you build up that trust. You can't let us have
No,
that.
because now you're just gonna get things like that.
It's kind of fun though. Like the amount of freedom we actually are given by you guys is really cool, and you don't often see that on different jobs. So just being able to do things like in I believe it was 6 where we did the film noir thing. Is that 6?
Oh, that whole
That was
sequence,
really
that
cool.
whole black and white sequence is
Yeah.
amazing.
We actually, it used to be way more noir-y. Like we did a whole thing in After Effects with film grain, but when it rendered out, it could not handle it.
Yeah.
So we had to
It's just too
pull
much.
it back. Too much noir. We had to turn down the
That's
noir.
that's a first for any of our animated work.
Oh, and in episode 2 or 3, I guess it is, when Albatross is first introduced. I think that was the first time I saw you guys do something where I was like, "Oh, did you see what they just did? He falls
Oh, like this. It was that
the
stretch.
stretch when he
down.
falls through the roof." And if you slow motion it, you can see you're just taking the asset and you're just pulling it a little bit. You're just giving it a little stretch. It's not,
The thing that was awesome about that episode too is later on in the episode when he's carrying a bunch of stuff, he does that same fall, but then he drops like 6 things, and they all have a different bounce rate. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, like it's a real tumble.
We sort of always wonder if some of the things we are doing are too much. Like when in the cleaning episode with the Katamari egg, we had when he picks up Sky Kid's desk and they roll it away, we had him on an egg.
yeah.
And we're like, this is hilarious.
That was really
Right.
funny.
And
No,
we're like,
that
we're
was
gonna
great.
Get a note back, maybe, because that's weird. He's a boy bird.
The cool thing about Mappy is that it's not my baby. It's not my my precious darling. It's this fun thing. Everyone can contribute. You never know exactly how it's going to turn out, but I think that's what really makes it so loose and great. I think it's why people are responding to it so well too.
Well, and talk a little bit about that too. Go ahead, Chris. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, like, you were the one, Scott, who brought that to the table, like, because we were writing. It was the episode where they are going to the Wonder Momo concert and they're lost in the desert, and it's like, okay, we know that they're stuck. We know that they will fix the car, of course, and get to leave. But what do we do in the interim? And it was just like, Mappy's eating a sandwich made out of dirt. Like, why not? Like, let's show them going mad. And where I'm more rigid, and I'm like, yeah, but do we really want to go? And it's like, no, let's just go. Let's just do that and see where it ends up.
Yeah.
And it's a great episode.
No, it's fantastic.
There was an exceptionally weird joke that you guys put in that actually I think Corey thought that we wrote, where after he spits out the crystal Pepsi, he gets attacked by ants.
Oh, the ants.
And like we put we were
Yeah,
both reading
that's
that. We're like,
right.
where'd the ants come from? Ah, well, put it
Right?
in.
Well, I think we expected like the ants to linger. It's like, so now not only is he, dehydrated, but now he's covered in biting ants. It's just not.
We
It's
didn't
not getting
understand
better.
We made them leave so fast.
Yeah.
No, but it was great in the end. It worked. It was so funny. It worked out so well. That was another crack up moment when I saw that. I just started dying laughing. It was just a weird, absurd, like, what just happened? First of all, we're talking about
we
Crystal
had-
Pepsi, and then there's these ants all over his chest.
Yeah, we had already gone pretty far into like Salvador Dali, so it's appropriate that on their descent they would be covered in ants at one point.
All right, let's figure out a wrap up real quick. This has been great. This has been a really nice chat. I think that we'll do some more of these for the fans, and I think we'll talk about some other aspects of stuff, and probably do another one after the back half of season 1, which we're just getting ready to launch here. So thank you, Lindsay and Alex. It was great speaking with you, and I'm glad everybody in viewer land got some insight into what you two do. You do such a wonderful job. More praise, more praise.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And thanks to Scott and Chris for joining us here and talking about Mappy and a little bit about the process. And we're excited to see what more you guys bring to us in the back half of season 1.
It's always a pleasure.
It's gonna be terrible. You're gonna hate it.
But in a good
In
way.
a good
but
way. In a good way. You're gonna hate it in a good way.
You're gonna hate that it's over.
And on that note, thank you so much. This has been Mappy Extras. We'll see you next week for Mappy episode 7.
Pew 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 pew. Mm.